I think adversity teaches us humility. We don't get to choose what happens to us. We all get run over by life in one way, shape or form. No one gets out of it unscathed. That's the job. It teaches us to just smile and wave and hang on to what's important. The desire to farm has given me a pretty interesting life to what I could have had. I grew up on a small farm in central New South Wales, and I was married and had 2 little kids, and I was really frustrated because we wanted to get onto land and didn't have much money. Been working to pay off a house and bought a rundown station 250 kilometres west of Bourke, and went there with 2 little kids and mustered goats to stock it and fenced it, and that was our start. In the early years, what I learnt is that there are only really 2 things that are important. If you want to get somewhere, you have to have determination and persistence. One without the other doesn't work. You know, we can be as determined as we like for one day, but that's not going to cut it. You know, you've got to persist, and you've got to persist when you're dog-tired. It's been very difficult for us financially. I seem to have a run of having droughts after I buy land, and not just a little drought, not just, you know, a year or 2 years. It's a proper drought that seems to hit as soon as I buy country. When it's really dry and it's really tough, I don't look up. It's just keep your head down, girl, 1 foot in front of the other. Today you've got to feed the stock, you've got to do this, you fix that fence, that's what you've got to do today. And you start making plans of what are we going to do when it rains, and you just drive yourself nuts. So for me, it's just shrink my world down into what I can manage and don't get too hung up on it, because it always has rain. I did have to spend overnight in hospital with a silly little infection, and I did cry when I had to leave hospital because it was such a nice rest. And we decided that was all a little bit too tragic, so we had to try and make things a bit better. I would never walk away. For me, resilience isn't a noun, it's a verb. And resilience is what we do when we've looked at all the options and said there's nothing else for it. You just got to keep going. Put your head down and get on with it. And then you're doing resilience. And that's all there is to it. What really gives me so much joy about what I do is the fact that I'm building something. It's not just building a business, and it's not just building a home, but also it's far deeper. It's about building soil. I mean, that's part of earth. That's what we're all dependent on. And it's my legacy, I guess. It's what I leave behind, and I'm really proud of it. And so every morning I'm pretty keen to get on with the job. As a young woman, just to work on a farm was a big deal. And so a lot of my younger days was spent shearing sheep just to prove that I could physically do it. And as I'm older, I think that physical side of it was such a small part of what we do. It's more about your mental state and how strong you are in your mind to be able to cope with it. It just gives me so much pleasure to see all the young women doing great things now. There's members of my family that would say that perhaps I wouldn't have taken this road except I was told that I couldn't. It gives me a lot of pleasure to think I've played a really small part of just opening up that landscape for the next generations to come. If what I'm doing for work is the same as what I would do to play, then to me that's something to be really happy with. That's the sort of life I want to live, and I'm aiming for it all the time and hitting it more and more as I get older. I don't think I need a finish line or anything to tell me that it's all been worth it, because if I get out of bed every day doing what I want to do, to me that's the ultimate success, and that's the only one I need.